Hey there, this is Tara again, and just trying to help you out so you can jam with everybody and anybody you want to and sound cool. So today's concept is being able to go to a jam and say, sure, what key? When someone wants to play a song. I know in bluegrass and jazz, a lot of things like that, there's these singing songs and they can be in any key, whatever key someone wants to sing them in. And if you're just learning to play, you probably memorize a song in G or an A or in C or something, and someone says, oh yeah, I do that one, and then they give you a different key and you're like, right, we want to handle that today. So what we're going to do is kind of look at how chords and then eventually the notes in the songs are actually sort of in intervals. They're like in numbers, which I know a lot of my students, I teach in person and online lessons, and a lot of my students come to me because this gives them a conniption fit. So we don't want that. We want it to be fun. Music's supposed to be fun. We're playing music, right? We're not working music. So if, let's say, most songs are, and I've touched on this in some earlier videos, so we're just build up from there. So I'll start sort of basic and then we'll get more and more complex as we go along. So, take what makes sense to you. And if doesn't quite make sense, you can check out some of my other videos. You can also contact me and we can nerd out on some chord theory on mandolins or guitars or ukuleles. So most songs that we are going to encounter are in like basically 3 or 4 chords. So the 1 chord, I'm using Roman numerals because if you look in those theory books, they'll probably give you Roman numerals. That way it doesn't look too weird. So it's the 1, the 4, and the 5 chords are major. And maybe there's a 6 that's a minor chord, right? So if I write that in normal, don't want anyone to freak out or get uncomfortable. So you have your 1, your 4, and your 5 are major chords. And maybe your 6 is a minor. This is for a lot of songs. Now, there are other ones, and we'll talk about those here in just a bit. But if I think of it that way, let's say I was in the key of C, right? And I count on my, C, D, E, F is my 4, G is my 5. So I'd have key of C would be C, F, G, and A minor, right? Then if I was going to be in the key of, let's say, G, we'll just think of some of the most common keys for our folk players, singer-songwriters, whatever. We might have G would be our 1, C would be our 4, D would be our 5, and E minor would be our 6th chord, something like that. So this is our basic stuff. And like I said, we have touched on that a little bit before. Anything that's in your note scale is going to still apply to your chord scales. So that's kind of what we're talking about today, is getting into some more detail with these chord scales so that we can say, sure, what key? And not freak out when someone kicks off a song in a key that we're not used to. And, there's still going to be keys that are more comfortable for you than others, or if you've learned it in a certain key. That's cool too, obviously. That's always handy. Okay, so if I'm going to do more than just those 1, 4, and 5, I'm going to start with what's basically in our theory books or something, but then we'll build up to what you're actually seeing at your jams and in your songs. So if I have the most normal thing to go with, and we'll just do 1 through 6 since that's often the case. And I know in bluegrass, a lot of times the 7 chord is sort of a teaser, and it's in there for suspense, and it's just going to be the normal chord. So let's not even talk about that yet. So if I have a certain key, whatever key, I'd have my 1 chord as a major, my 2 chord as a minor, 3 chord is a minor. This is how they do it in those fancy theory books for little minor things. 4 chord is a major, 5 chord is a major, and then let's make our 6 a minor. So if I'm going to actually make any sense of this, obviously we're going to have to put actual chords, because a lot of you do not like thinking in numbers and you like thinking in chords. And I used to be one of you guys too, and I totally get it. And that's why we're talking about this, because I want you to love jamming and be able to go to that jam and not be stressed out and actually have a great time. So my 1 chord, let's say in the key of C, was C. Now it's just counting. It's just the alphabet. It's just right there on your fingers. So C, D's the second one, E's the third one, F's the fourth one, G's the fifth one. Then it starts over because we don't go higher than G, so there's no LMNOP problems or anything. A would be my sixth one. So I've got C, just do my alphabet, right? D, E, F, G, and A minor, right? So I've got, here's my majors, right? There's one, right there, the 4, the 5, and the 1. So when we first were talking about these things, 1, 4, and 5 was where, you know, there's a whole lot of songs you can do with just 1, 4, and 5s in varying orders, you know, or even just a 1 and the 4, or just a 1 and the 5. So, yeah, you don't have to have all of these, but you can have mixes of them. And then we'll get out a mandolin or guitar here, and we'll listen to what this sounds like. So let's just do a couple more examples just so we get sort of our heads around it, because I don't know about you, but sometimes when people just talk music theory, if we don't actually do a song, we don't actually do examples, we don't actually hear it, it ain't no part of nothing, as Bill Monroe used to say. I don't know if he said that about theory, said that about some things. We'll just use that, like Abraham Lincoln quotes, kind of make it our own. Okay, so 1, we'd have G, if we're in the key of G. Next is, starts over, so A minor, B minor. What are some songs we're going to see some of that in? That John Hartford song, you know, the steam-powered aeroplane, that kind of stuff. They're going to go 1, 2, 3 in that kind of pattern. C, D, and E minor, okay? Let's go ahead and put a D in there, and I'll make it of different colors so they'll be easier for us to see and digest, and sort of stand out from each other a little bit. Also just bought new markers because I love doing that when I'm teaching. Okay, so we have D, right? 2. It's just the alphabet, people. Don't freak out. But anything that was a fret, a flat or a sharp in our normal scale is gonna apply to the chord scale. So, yeah. And let me know if you need to talk about this off of this. But yeah, so we're just gonna go ahead and do it. We're gonna go F sharp, minor, G, A, B minor. There we go, right? So we've still got our 1, 4, and 5, our big honking, you know, lighthouse rocks. And then we've got these other ones here too, so we can play with. So if somebody says, now when I'm leading jam sessions or I'm teaching at some, you know, music camps or something, a lot of times if there's a jam and everyone doesn't know the song, I'll be like 1 chord, 4 chord, 5 chord, and often you use 6, well, I use 2 hands or something. And I may sometimes have to put a 2 or a 3. So if I'm staying in this real normal realm of chord theory, and I know you're thinking of some songs that don't always obey this, that's fine. You know, just like the English language, we got exceptions, we've got fun stuff. Sometimes that's what makes it the most fun. So if I was in C, D minor, E minor, F, G, A minor. Now I could do them all in one place too. I don't have to go up the neck. C, D minor, E minor, F, G, A minor. So I can mix and match those. So if you're just trying to play with this, play with it. Play with it like a toy. Play with it like a game. 1, 4, 1, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4. You know, just have a little fun. Try to hear some songs in it. You'll find yourself playing like Lean on Me. You'll find yourself playing Doobie Brothers, because a lot of those songs are coming right out of these chord scales. So practicing the chord scales is not just going to be like, that ain't no part of nothing thing. You'll play with it and you'll be like, hey, that sounds like, and then you'll find another one where you're like, oh, and that sounds like, So if I was in G, same idea. And you're going to start noticing when you have a couple keys you're trying it in, that, oh, you know, it has a certain sound. And don't worry, when I first started, I didn't always hear that thing that people were talking about. But there's a sound when it goes from the 1 chord to the 4 chord, or the 1 chord to the 5 chord, or the 1 to the 2 to the 3. And so, you know, you can just be sitting in a restaurant and hearing something on the, you know, the music coming out wherever streaming device or CD or record or live person's playing, and be like, oh, interesting. 1 to the 2 to the 3. Oh, and the second part's just 5, 4-1 or something. So anyway, G would be G, A minor, B minor, C, D, E minor. You could keep going up. You could go up and down. You could stay in first position. Doesn't matter because the chord is a chord is a chord. If it's an A minor anywhere, it's an A minor anywhere. Doesn't matter how we voice it. So G, A minor, B minor, C, D, E minor or E minor or E minor. Doesn't matter. Okay, so that is our starting point. Now, you're thinking about like, well, Old Hope Place has a 3, but it's not really a minor. No, it's actually not a minor at all. So let's look at something like that. That song's going to go like 1, 3, 4, then 1, 1, 1, 1, and then the 5, right? So sometimes on some of those songs, Old Home Place does it. Let's see, the one about Virginia gals, you know, the one where he had really bad planning and went to Richmond and didn't plan ahead and get a number or a backup plan. This was a really bad idea. So don't blame the Virginia girls. I'm a Virginia girl. I never did that. Wasn't about me. But anyway, sometimes I think about those 3 chords, which are majors or 7 chords even, as almost a teaser on the way to the 4, if that helps you remember what's happening. You know, so like if I was like, in Old Home Place, for instance, 1 would be G, if I'm in the key of G. You often see B7, which is partly also because it's easier for the guitar player to make a B7 than B, you know, the way bars work. G, then B7, then the 4 chord is the C, and then back to 1. And there's a lot of songs that'll kind of do that. So if the 3 is like that major and it's sort of right before the 4 chord, think of it as almost a stepping stone on the way to your 4, if that helps you remember what it is. And then the second part of that Old Home Place, I believe, goes to the 4 chord. So like D, 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 D would be my 5 chord. To the 1, 1, 1, then 2 major, and back to 5. So yeah, 2, not always minor. It's just not. And then sometimes also the 6th chord, it's not always minor. Sometimes it's a major, sometimes it's a 7, and that's fine. 1, 6, 2, 5, 1. If we did that, 1, 6, 2, 5, 1. You know, you could think of a lot of songs like, you know, 2 Old Maids or Sitting in the Sand, which is the 6th dominant, or 6, just the 7th chord. 6 would be, so G, E7, A is the 2, and then D is the 5, and back to 1. Yeah, so that'd be like Salty Dog, right? So 1, 6, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, then 5, 5, 5, 5, and then the 1. Anyway, so I still am thinking about it as numbers, so that if someone says, oh, I sing that song, I sing it in C, instead of being like, well, I guess I'll just pretend to be busy and tie my shoes for the next 3 minutes, or try to clean that ledge, or go to the bathroom, take a real long time eating my sandwich. You can actually say, oh, okay, so if I was in the key of C, what is my 3? You know, it would be an E. So I'll go C, E is my 3, F was my 4, and back to C. C is my 1 still, and then 5 is my G. And 1, then 3, then 4, then 1, 1, then 5, then 1. Then the second part, I was thinking, okay, what does it do? It goes to 5 chord in C, C, D, E, F, G, right? G. Girls use my little chart. 5, 5, 5, then 1, 1, 1, then 2, which is now D, 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 back to 5. And again, it doesn't matter which voicings you use. If you go up, down the neck, you could do it on your guitar. You could do it on your mandolin. You could, yes, use a capo on your guitar. But it's also helpful because even if you're using a capo, you may have a bass player or a mandolin player or a fiddle player who says, well, what chord is that really, as you've gone up and down the neck? If you can say what the number is, they go, okay, yeah, I'm on it. I got it. And then the jam is happy and you're happy. So anyway, I hope that helps. If you want any more stuff like this, feel free to contact me. I teach online and in-person lessons if you're lucky enough to be in the neighborhoods where I am, which can rotate around. So check in with me, see where I am at any given time. But I do teach online lessons to any place in the world. So yeah, TaraLinhart.com, and have fun out there. Keep on picking and grin. Bye.